Ammo's flying off shelves again, and it ain't just the usual weekend shooters buying. If you're not loading up on the essential calibers, now don't be surprised when you're standing in line with nothing left to grab. What's up, everyone? This is Sully from Line 45, and today I'm running down the 5 calibers. Every gun owner should be stacking deep before prices spike, and the next shortage hits hard. Before I start, I would really appreciate it if you would push those buttons below. The subscribe button, the notification bell, all of them. This is not necessary, but those little clicks help a brother out. Plus, it pushes me to give you more valuable car-related content on your screen. Now buckle up and let's get back to the video. .300 Blackout. You start loading up subsonic .300 Blackout into a suppressed AR pistol, and it all clicks why this round was built, why it matters, and why anyone not stocking it in 2025 is going to regret it. It does something 5.56 can't. It stays quiet, heavy, and devastating out of a short barrel without needing special magazines or bolts. You swap barrels, and suddenly the same rifle's doing a whole different job. That kind of flexibility has real value when shelves start clearing out. I've got a 9-inch upper with a direct thread can, and I keep it loaded with 220 grain subs that cycle clean and hit with authority at close range. It doesn't scream downrange like a supersonic 5.56, but it thumps, and it does so quietly. Supersonic loads, like Barnes' 110 grain TCTX, give you reliable expansion and stay stable out past 200 yards. That means you're not boxed into one roll. This caliber gives you choices, short barrel, performance, suppressed control, and just enough reach to stay effective beyond the typical pistol cartridge distances. Now the flip side. Finding .300 Blackout during a panic is rough. Even now in 2025, stores are restocking slowly, and prices are bouncing between 90 cents and $1.50 a round. Subsonics are worse. Defensive-grade ammo like SIG's Elite Match or Hornady's 208 grain AMAX is either on back order or marked up through the roof. This isn't a round you want to be hunting for when supply tightens up. You build the stash now, or you wait with an empty rifle later. If you've built your rifle around this caliber, you already know it doesn't take the place of anything else. It fills a role no other round covers this well. Suppressed short and purpose-built. Keep it on hand while you can. Now let's move to something heavier, longer, and still the go-to for anyone reaching past 500 yards. Let's talk .308 Winchester. 308. Winchester. When things get unpredictable and you want one rifle caliber that can handle just about anything, the 308 Winchester stays at the top of the list. It's not new, it's not flashy, but it works every time, and it's still trusted by military, law enforcement, hunters, and long-range shooters alike. I've got a gas gun and a bolt gun, both chambered in .308, and they're the rifles I never worry about when the wind picks up, the lights go out, or the shelves start looking bare. That's why I've been loading up on it this year. Not just for delay, but because it's a caliber that stays useful no matter what kind of shooting situation you're looking at. A typical .308 round pushes a 147 to 180 grain bullet with velocities sitting around 2,600 to 2,800 feet per second, depending on the load and barrel length. I've run 168 grain match loads out past 800 yards with consistent performance, and I've dropped deer with 150 grain soft points that hit like a hammer at 200. The versatility is built into the brass. It takes a large rifle primer, it feeds from box mags in rifles like the M1A or AR-10, and it's simple to reload if you've got the setup. Ammo prices right now are sitting between 90 cents to $1.40 a round, depending on if you're buying FMJ soft points or match-grade BTHP. In a panic, those prices spike fast, especially on hunting loads. And because .308 is a favorite for preppers and rural landowners, it gets snatched up hard when supply starts to tighten. The other problem is logistics. This round is bigger and heavier, which means fewer per box, fewer per pallet, and slower resupply when demand explodes. You can't rely on your local store having it when you need it. If your main rifle or hunting setup is built around .308, this is the year to stock deep and not wait. 10mm auto. You start loading up a Glock 20 with full power 10mm and it doesn't feel like your typical semi-auto experience. That slide snaps forward like it means business, and the recoil isn't punishing. But you know you're working with real energy. This round isn't just some overhyped caliber for chest beating. It's a legit workhorse, and in 2025 a lot of folks are finally treating it that way. Which is exactly why it's getting harder to find, and why I started stacking it deep months ago. I carry 10mm when I'm out in the woods, black bear country, heavy brush camping in unknown spots, and anything in between. It's the round I trust to push 700 foot-pounds with a 200-grain hard-cast load from Double Tap or Underwood. But it's not just for the trail. With more companies putting out factory pistols chambered in 10mm like Springfield's XDM Elite or SIG's P320X Tuna, it's no longer a niche option. The demand is climbing, but production is still limited compared to 9mm or .23. That imbalance is already showing up in gun stores. You'll find the pistols on the shelf but boxes of ammo. Not so much depending on where you are. You can get range stuff like Armscore or S&B for about 45 to 55 cents a round if you're lucky, but defensive loads are stretching past $1.50 easily. And if your favorite brand does a limited production run, you're out of luck until they spool it up again. It's a caliber that runs hotter, hits harder, and costs more to make. So the shelves empty faster and refill slower. If you shoot 10mm or plan to waiting around, isn't smart. Stock it now while the shelves still have anything left that isn't match grade or boutique priced. Now let's shift gears to something smaller, cheaper, and always the first to disappear when panic hits. You already know what's coming next. 12 gauge. If you think 12 gauge is going to be easy to find when things tighten up, think again. This is the one gauge that every type of shooter leans. Hunters, home, defenders, ranchers, preppers, you name it. And once the shelves start thinning, it's one of the first to vanish. I've seen it happen before, and it's already happening again in spots. That's why I've been grabbing every case I can get my hands on in 2025. You don't wait for bird season or supply crunch to start hunting for buckshot. The thing with 12 gauge is you're not just buying one shell. You're stocking an entire system. Slugs for barrier penetration or larger game .0 buck. For personal defense No. 4 or No. 6 for pests and small game. Each load fills a different role, and if you're short on one, it leaves a serious hole in your setup. Most people don't realize it, but a good 2, 3, 4-inch buckshot shell can push over 200 foot-pounds at the muzzle, and that's coming out of a platform you can pick up for $300. Even low-recoil rounds like Federal's Flight Control .00 buck stay tight out to 25 yards and hit like a truck. Right now, you might find bulk birdshot for around 40 to 50 cents per shell, but quality buck and slug loads are climbing past $1 a piece. And unlike rifle rounds, these don't flood back into stock overnight. Hull shortages, primer constraints, and manufacturers prioritizing rifle and pistol ammo mean 12 gauge gets pushed to the back burner every time demand spikes. If you've got a pump or semi-auto sitting in the safe and you're not stacking cases now, you're gambling with timing. Because once the 12 gauge dries up, it doesn't come back quickly. Coming up next, let's talk about the round that vanishes faster than anything else when panic hits. 22 LR. The 22 LR is always the first caliber to disappear when ammo panic kicks in, and 2025 is shaping up no different. Every gun owner I know, from casual plinkers to hardened preppers, has at least one .22 in their setup, and when things tighten up, they all go looking for the same stuff. The reason? It's the most versatile, most affordable, and most stockpile-friendly round on the market. You can train with it, hunt with it, run suppressed, teach new shooters, and even defend yourself in a pinch if you absolutely have to. That kind of utility packed into a cartridge the size of your fingernail is hard to ignore. Most .22 LR ammo is built with a lead round nose or copper-plated projectile, typically in 36 to 40 grains, pushing around 1,200 to 1,300 feet per second out of a rifle-length barrel. Subsonic rounds for suppressed use run slower around 1,000 FPS, and some of the newer high-velocity options from CCI and Aguila push over 1,400 feet per second. You're getting solid performance for everything from pest control to small game, and all at a fraction of the price of centerfire rounds. Even with prices creeping up, bulk packs still hover around 5 to 7 cents per round, depending on brand and type. But what makes it critical to stockpile is how fast it dries up. Manufacturers tend to prioritize higher-margin centerfire cartridges when things get tight and .22 gets left behind. Plus, with rimfire being so sensitive to production tooling, it doesn't bounce back quickly when supply runs low. If you think you can just swing by your local shop and grab a brick during a panic, you're already behind the curve. If you're running a Ruger 1022, a Smith & Wesson M&P 22, or even a bolt-action squirrel gun, it only makes sense to stack this round deep while it's cheap and available. Now let's move on to something bigger, hotter, and central to just about every AR build out there. Time to talk. .223 and 5.56. .23 Remington, 5.46 NATO. If there's one caliber that absolutely every AR owner should be stacking right now, it's the .223 Remington and 5.56 NATO. These two are often used interchangeably, but they're not the same. 5.56. NATO is loaded to higher pressures and usually fired from rifles with a 5.56 chamber while. Primary. Remington runs a little softer and is more common in bolt guns and target setups. The point is most modern ARs are stamped for 5.56, which means they'll eat both. And in 2025, with political pressure heating up and manufacturers already prioritizing military contracts, supply for civilians is not guaranteed. You're looking at lightweight bullets in the 55 to 77 grain range. A 55 grain FMJ load, like Federal XM193, zips out of a standard 16-inch AR barrel at around 3,200 feet per second and carries more than enough energy to hit out to 300 yards and beyond. These cartridges use small rifle primers and brass cases and are often available in bulk pack loose boxes or 20-round retail packs. And while you used to be able to grab steel case stuff like Wolf or Barnaul for cheap import restrictions, have made that side of the market unpredictable. Right now, brass case .23 or 5.56 runs about 45 to 65 cents per round, depending on the load and brand. Match-grade or green-tip M855 rounds cost more, especially in bulk. The biggest issue with this caliber in times of panic is volume. ARs burn through ammo fast, and it takes a lot more to stay ready than most people realize. You're not just buying a box or two. You're buying cases because in any emergency scenario, this is your go-to rifle round. And when demand spikes, these are the pallets that vanish from warehouse shelves first. If you own an AR platform M4-style rifle or any carbine built around the 5.56 chamber, waiting until election season, or another supply disruption hits is a mistake. Stock up now while supply chains are moving and prices are somewhat stable. Next, let's shift to the most common pistol caliber in America, the one that burns through faster than you can reload. A 9mm Morse. You don't wait until shelves are empty to start thinking about 9mm. You buy it now, you stack it deep, and you don't stop because it is the most shot, most carried, most trained with handgun caliber in the United States. Whether you're running a Glock 19, a SIG P365, a Beretta 92, or a 9mm PCC, like a Ruger PC Carbine or Henry Homesteader, this round is the lifeblood of your setup. It is compact, effective, and available on more platforms than any other centerfire cartridge. And in 2025, demand for 9mm is climbing again, which means supply is about to tighten. Most standard loads fall between 115 and 147 grains with full metal jacket for training and a jacketed hollow point for carrier defense. Velocity usually runs 1,100 to 1,250 feet per second out of a typical 4-inch barrel. That kind of performance gives you controllable recoil and reliable terminal ballistics, especially when paired with proven loads like Speer Gold Dot, Federal HST, or Hornady Critical Duty. It uses small pistol primers and standard brass cases and is produced in massive volume across the country and overseas. The problem is that 9mm is everyone's first grab when things go sideways. A box here and there might not be hard to find now, but the bulk pricing is climbing. Training ammo used to sit at 18 to 22 cents per round, but as of mid-2025, it's pushing 28 to 35 cents, and quality defensive loads are running anywhere from 80 cents to 1.25 per round, if not higher. Every major panic buy in the last decade cleared 9mm first, and it was months before shelves started looking normal again. You've got more guns chambered in this round than any other, and that's exactly why you don't want to be caught short. Stockpile 9mm because it is your front line in every scenario, whether it's home defense carry or training. Keep it simple, keep it available, and build that stash while you still can.